All right, so that was A Tourney at Whiterun. So, Abby, what did you think of the set?
I really liked it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like it's obviously, like, it's super fun. Like, some of the cards, some of the aggressive cards are, like, really fun to play. I think, like, almost every time that I played a deck in this set, it was very aggressive.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So, and I'm a big fan of aggressive decks, so that's why I enjoyed it.
I think you also enjoyed kind of the medieval flavor there.
There is like a certain, like, medieval-y Game of Thrones-y kind of feel to it, and I like that too. I mean, and some of the art is obviously Game of Thrones inspired.
Yes.
So.
Cool. All right, so what we will do is we will use our patented CATS
Meow
rating system to rate the set like we always do. So C stands for complexity, A stands for awesomeness, T stands for translation, how well does it translate whatever it's trying to do into Magic cards, so kind of the flavor, and S is just satisfaction, overall satisfaction. So why don't we start with C, complexity, and I think I'll give it a B.
A B
for complexity. So kind of as we've seen in a lot of what brings it down a little bit is the fabled mechanic. Fabled mechanic is kind of complicated, especially the fact that there's a lot of them that just, we're seeing here like that aren't instants. So like this Seek Glory being a sorcery kind of threw me off a couple times, and there's a couple others that kind of just threw me off. Like this one, Lone Heroics, also threw me off not being an instant. Yeah. So that was kind of strange. And also just being like a flip card that isn't a permanent is kind of a little bit hard. And another thing that was a little bit complicated but was the infiltrate mechanic, because it doesn't really count itself if it's blocked or not. It counts your other creatures too. As long as any creature gets in, this guy gets the bonus. So that's a little complicated. But that doesn't bring it down to the B totally just for me with infiltrate and fable. There's also just a bunch of little cards in the set, like Distracting Handmaiden, just makes combat a nightmare for your opponent.
But she did work for you.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. This is a great card, but we're talking about complexity right now.
Right,
this makes combat very, very complex. And there was also Sales of Commerce, which was just
ridiculous.
It made the game so complex. And yeah, it's an uncommon. If it's going to stay the same, it should probably be a rare. And the same thing with Distracting Handmaiden. If that's going to stay in the set, it should probably be at least an uncommon. There's a reason that Wizards doesn't usually print things like that at common much anymore, because they just make combat very complex. And don't get me wrong, they're super fun, but man, managing those board states in that last draft game.
Oh, dude,
it was a headache. But yeah, everything else aside from those things is pretty straightforward. So you have Renown, Adorn, and Cripple. Those are all pretty easy. So I'd say it all balances out to about a B.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that.
All right. Then for awesomeness. So awesomeness is a tough one. So because awesomeness, if we're just going strictly by like how much fun it is and how cool the cards are when we play them, I'd probably have to give it a B+.
Right.
But if we're going on the awesomeness just based on when you're looking at the cards, deciding whether or not to download the set, it would be a lot lower. It'd be like a D. Because honestly, when I was doing the intro for this set, I had a hard time picking cards to show to the viewers that would be like, oh wow, look at this. This is going to want to make you play the set. And aside from Fabled, like the flip mechanic there's just not many really cool one-of cards that make you want to play the set.
Yeah, at first appearance, there's not a lot of cool cards that are like, oh dang, like this is awesome. Like,
yeah. So I think the B and the D, they average out to a C+ for me.
I think that's pretty reasonable, yeah.
So I just wish that there was maybe a few more flavorful rares or mythics or uncommons. And don't get me wrong, the ones that are in here are cool, but they're only cool when you play with them. I want a few things that are cool where you just look at them and you're like, wow, I really want to play those things. Mm-hmm. So just a little bit amped up, and that'd be better in my opinion.
I'd have to agree.
So next is translation. So don't get me wrong, I love this set. I think this set is a blast to play, but I have no idea what this set is about. Look, we got elks going on here. There's elks. I mean, we have all of these elks, and don't get me wrong, I love elks. Elks are fantastic.
I love me some elks.
We have like Dead Man's Armor. We have Sway the Naive, and I mean, these are all fantastic cards, and they're cool, but what does this have to do with a tourney at Whiterun, and what's the tourney all about? And who are these people?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a fun set to play, but story-wise and translation-wise, it feels like a dollar store Game of Thrones.
Kind of. I mean, we have Sir Joffrey here, and he's cool. I have no idea who he is, though. You know, what is his position in this story, and what does he do, and why don't we have, like, Sir Joffrey's Vengeance as a card or something like that, you know? So
even that has like Game of Thrones-y echoes, you know?
For sure, but it just kind of falls flat because I don't. It just feels like it's kind of all thrown together. It feels more like
all thrown together.
It feels honestly. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, this set plays really fun and it's fun to play. In the same way that a Modern Masters set is fun to play, but Modern Masters aren't known for their flavor.
Right.
They're just cards that are fun put together, and it's fun to play them. So this kind of feels like a master set to me. So in that respect, for translation, I mean, I have to give it a D here.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that too. I mean, like, it's fun to play, it's fun to, play with your friends, but story-wise, translation-wise, like, I don't know what's going on. We're just kind of having fun.
I mean, the only thing that keeps it from an F for me is that there is the medieval quality to all the cards. It's not like there's robots and future things as well, which would just completely throw me off. But there is a nice medieval tone to everything, which ties it all together. But I wish I had an idea about what the story was. If it's supposedly there's a wedding or something, there should be a mythic wedding card,
Yeah.
Some stuff like that.
Just or a deadly priest,
Yeah, just to help guide the players a little bit to figure out what's going on. So. All right, and finally, satisfaction. So for satisfaction, an A would mean I want to draft it or play it again right away.
Right.
B would mean, yeah, if a friend asked me to, I'd definitely play it again. A C would mean, play it in the future sometime, eventually, not a huge rush. A D would mean, I'd rather not play it again, even if a friend asked. And an F would mean, never again.
Exactly.
So based on that criteria, I gotta give this set an A-.
Yeah. I mean, like, for as bad as the translation was, I mean, satisfaction-wise, after playing it, it's obvious that the mechanics are kind of well thought out, and, like, it's just a really fun set to play, especially in the draft that we just had.
Oh, for sure.
Like, that was
and
super fun.
It wasn't just the draft either. Our sealed games were fun. Our exhibition games were fun.
Yeah.
Just all the games were fun. And yeah, all the mechanics and colors kind of tend toward aggression, but they're all viable. Everything is viable in this set. Green is a little bit weaker, but, I think just a little tweaking, making maybe a few more fabled cards, making the fabled cards a little bit better, and so that way Adorned is a little bit better, perhaps.
Yeah.
So maybe giving a few more payoffs for the ramp deck in green would be nice. I mean, those would be fine, and I think if there was just a few more tweaks made to the set, this could easily be an A or an A+ set. So, so I think, just a few tweaks to make Fable, because Fable's really cool. I want it to happen more often, and maybe make Adorn a little bit better. Maybe one more good common equipment. Maybe one more good common ramp payoff. And I think this set could be a ton. I'd love to draft it again if just a few changes were made to it. And even if those changes weren't made, I would draft it again like 2 or 3 more times happily.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Me too. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, granted, like, drafting on Plane Sculptors helps as well, but...
You get the 4 Bend the Knee deck.
Yeah, 4 Bend the Knee and 2 Joffreys, like, what's that? But,
Alright, yeah. So anyway, that's what we thought about A Tourney at Whiterun, but as always, our opinion isn't chiseled in stone or anything, so feel free to let us know what you thought of the set, and as always, let us know if there's any sets you want us to check out in the future in the comments.
Sounds good.
And see you next time.
See you then.